If you're as old as me and have been gaming as long as I have been, then there is one game you may have heard of. Def Jam Fight for New York. Now I'm not going to lie, but I have never been a big fan of fighting games. I like my games with a storyline, or at least an overarching objective. And as much as I respect the earlier games in the series of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, I could not see any reason for Liu Kang and Johnny Cage to fight and perform fatalities on each other when they are fighting for the same side.
Daddy, chill.
Or even Guile and Chun-Li to fight on the streets of China. Yes, the objective is to win, but I need to know why I am fighting and what am I fighting for. And frankly speaking, watching a short 30-second ending of the character I'm playing with after I had beaten characters that wiped the floor off from me didn't seem like a worthy payoff to me. So that's why I don't play fighting games, and yes, recent entries in Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter have storylines in them, but it was not the case during the PlayStation 2 era. That was until Def Jam Vendetta dropped. The first game can be described as a WWE clone, but with hip-hop artists. Released in 2003, I believe the game must have sold well enough for EA to greenlight a sequel. Yes, it is an EA game. I mean, according to Wikipedia, Def Jam Vendetta managed to sell 750,000 copies and earned $30 million in the United States alone by July 2006.
Here's a story. Angel is with D-Mob now. The end. Now let's bounce.
When the sequel, Def Jam Fight for New York, came out in 2004, I remember it taking over game sales chart by storm. Gamers were loving the combat mechanics, the story, the music, everything. I know I was one of them. Now in 2024, about 2 decades later, I decided to pick the game back up to see if it's still any good. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you don't mind the smell of blood and sweat in the air as a crowd of people stand together to form a circle for 2 men to beat each other senseless. This is Def Jam Fight for New York. When Fight for New York came out, it actually did away with the mechanics that made it another wrestling game. Instead, the developers made the game feel grittier and more realistic with its underground, no-holds-barred fighting mechanics. No longer were you fighting in a wrestling ring. Instead, you were fighting in dimly lit basements, chop shops,
Let's end it.
subway stations and scrapyards. Yes, the combat can look cartoony with the way characters flip and toss their rivals around, but it does not change the fact that it had the most brutal fighting mechanics in any game at the time.
This is gonna put someone to sleep for good. Whoa!
Before I jump into all of that, you may remember me talking about the game's story, and I will be doing the game and this video a great disservice if I didn't talk about it. The problem with storylines in fighting games, at least for me, is that there are multiple characters to choose from, and each character in a way is central to the storyline, and they will have their overarching stories and motives. It just didn't appeal to me, because if every character in a game is special in their own way, then in essence, no character is special. Take for example Tekken 3. Yes, there were a lot of characters to choose from, but Jin Kazuma was the central character. And yes, Jin and other characters are unique in their own way, but their journey plays out exactly the same. Jin's journey is no longer unique. I hope I'm explaining this right, and I hope you all understand it. I think the best way to describe is, I want to see a hero's journey. I want to see the hero rise, fall, and rise back again stronger. I want to see a character that I play as and see their motive. I want to see why they are central to this one story, and back on the PS2 era, fighting games did not have a coherent storyline. That is, unless you go on the game forums online to discuss with other players. And back in 2004, going online was not as easy or cheap as it is today. In Fight for New York, the hero's journey takes the center stage, because it is just one character that you play the story with. The game opens after the events of Vendetta, after D-Mob, played by Christopher Judge, yes, Kratos himself, is beaten at the end. As D-Mob is being arrested and taken away, he is rescued by an unknown figure.
GTA motherfucker!
At the station, the detective works with an artist to create a mugshot, and this is where you are introduced to the character creation screen. I have to say, this was such a nice way to introduce character creation in the story without breaking the immersion. You can select facial features, voices, the height of your character. Yes, you can make him 5'2" if you want to. Stay strong, short kings. And after I had created the mugshot, that's it. That's my character, and from there on in, my journey into underground fighting has begun.
Can you fight? I can take care of myself.
My character was going from venue to venue and butt heads with popular rappers that I needed to beat to win those locations. Of course, D-Mob is not the only one who's trying to take control of New York. His rival is a man named Crow, played by Snoop Dogg. I had to beat his fighters to take over his clubs, and I was surprised to see the amount of rappers there are in the game. From Method Man, Redman, Busta Rhymes, Sean Paul. Oh, and Danny Trejo is in it too. This probably was the biggest ensemble of cast before Avengers Endgame.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Baby! That's what I've been waiting for! That's what it's all about!
As I won fights, I was given the option to choose a girlfriend, because screw Tinder, that's why. Forget about grooming and buying a girl dinner, hell nah. Women in Def Jam universe don't want none of that. They need someone who can throw hands. Like Chris Brown.
Not cool. Not freaking cool.
Ah, screw you, that was funny. Coming back to the dating scene, yeah, I had Lil Kim, Shwana, and Kimora Lee Simmons lined up, but I had to go for Cindy J, who also played the role of Samantha in Need for Speed Underground.
Why am I not convinced?
A few moments later.
Don't bother waiting up, bruh.
Oh well, after winning a few more fights, I reached a very important crossroad in the game, probably in the history of gaming itself.
Now you ready to start your body just broke.
As my character was winning fights, I attracted the attention of Carmen Electra, who seemed very interested in me. And then I had to choose, pick Cindy J or cheat on her with Carmen Electra.
Kloski, analysis.
On one hand, I had a woman who had a crush on from Need for Speed, and rightfully so. And on the other hand, I had Carmen freaking Electra. And no, I can't double team them either.
Oh my.
Well, since I was already committed to Cindy J, I decided not to cheat on her. But my goodness, Carmen Electra. I mean, the polygons don't do her justice, man. But then the best thing happened. A catfight broke out between the two. These two amazingly hot women were fighting over me, which I'm not gonna lie, I felt was a bit weird at first because women don't fight over me. Usually they just hand in restraining orders. So that was a first. After that catfight that resulted in Carmen Electra getting knocked the F out,
now that's what you call premature annihilation.
we were back to business. Anyways, as I continued to win more venues, Kratos sets up a fight between his boy Blaze, played by Method Man, and Crow's right-hand man, Crack, played by Fat Joe.
You got it, D. I'll fold that up like an old wallet.
A few moments later.
Yeah, they never show Blaze get his ass handed to him on screen, but I imagine it went something like this.
It's over. You saw that, man? You saw that? It's a wrap. It's a doogie.
A few more fights later, Crow proposes a challenge. One fight to end all fights. Winner takes everything and the loser, well...
Hell, I don't know. Loser goes to Jersey.
No, not New Jersey!
The landfills were full. New Jersey was full.
The fight would be between Crow's best fighter, Crack, and D-Mob's best. Of course, that would be me. But Sticky got some, I don't know, daddy issues or something. But he ain't happy and I don't care. And then, there it was. My character, his girlfriend, D-Mob, and Blaze turn up to Crow's club, and after beating Crack, we were sure that New York would be ours for the taking. As the crew goes out to celebrate, Crow orders a hit on D-Mob led by Danny Trejo and Sticky. After making sure that Mr. Trejo catches the next train, literally, D-Mob is arrested and Blaze and the hero try to figure out what's gonna happen next. Blaze recommends that we carry out fighting for clubs and eventually, Crow will have nothing left.
Man, we gonna need some help.
Hey! What's going on?
As the story progresses, we see Crow getting desperate. First, he sends some of his men to tell me to back up, then he personally shows up and asks me to join him, which I politely declined.
You get us some serious thought.
Okay. No.
I mean, who the hell does Crow think I am? Does he think I can be bought with money? No, I don't need money. I need subscribers, which will in turn get me money. So do me a favor, pause this video and hit that all-important subscribe button. Push finally came to a shove when Crow decides to kidnap the hero's girlfriend, and in order to save her, the hero needs to fight for Crow and beat D-Mob's crew. So now I had to fight my friends and give back Crow everything I had won. See, now that is a love story I can get behind. After beating every one of his homies, the hero tells Crow to release his girlfriend, but unfortunately he is in no position to make demands. Crows ask him to do one last job, and that is to take out his best friend Blaze. But bros before hoes, and our hero is all about that code. So the hero saves Blaze and teams up with him to defeat Crack and Magic. After the fight, Magic tells the hero where they are keeping his girl. So our hero goes to save her and oh crap, Sticky's there. And he's not too happy to see us. So now we have to fight for our girl. I guess love is a burning thing that makes a fiery ring. After the hero had sent Sticky to hell, he brings his girl out of the burning building. And this is where I'm a bit confused. I don't know if the girl actually makes it or not. Her eyes are shut and she is not shown after this scene at all. Nor you get any message off from her after you have beaten the game. So yeah, I'm gonna go with she didn't make it. Very sad, F in the chat. The hero turns up to Crow's club with his homies and it is then we get the Avengers Endgame moment before that was even a thing. At the end, the hero faces Crow. Magic quits by handing in his resignation verbally and walks out.
Hey yo, you know what? This
The hero decides not to murk Crow because that's not what the code is, but Crow gets the jump on him. After sending Crow out the scenic route, it looks like all is now well. The hero has gained Blaze's respect back and the credits roll. My thoughts on the campaign was that it was very enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie, I really dig the storyline. It was a story of love, friendship, loyalty, betrayal, and redemption. The acting looked good and the lip sync was fantastic for a PlayStation 2 game. The voiceover acting from the artists themselves was top. No complaints there. Considering it is a Def Jam game featuring a lot of rappers and musicians, you can tell that the game has an amazing soundtrack. My favorite has to be Joe Budden's Walk With Me, which played in the back when the hero fought Crow at the end. I really have to hand it to EA. They crafted a very good campaign in a fighting game that began life as a wrestling game clone. Now I'm going to talk about the gameplay because that is what determines whether the game still holds up or not. Like I said earlier, Def Jam Vendetta, the first game in the series, was sort of a wrestling game. Fight for New York, however, is all about underground fighting and it shows in the gameplay. If you're going to try and knock your opponent out using your bare fists, you're going to be fighting for hours. Instead, you are incentivized to fight dirty and brutal. Ram your opponent's head in a wall or jukebox, throw them out of the ring or in front of an oncoming train, or get the crowd involved for some beat up. Fight for New York is all about fighting dirty and using every tactic to win. And honestly, this is what separated it from the fighting games at the time. It took the gameplay of wrestling games and made it gritty. Yes, you can punch, kick, throw, and block an attack from your opponent, but if you can get an enemy's back against the environment, you can deliver a devastating blow.
That's what I call using the elements.
As you do more damage, you will fill a bar that is under your health, which will allow you to pull your special move with a flick of the right thumbstick. And then it's a case of grabbing onto your enemy and moving the right thumbstick to pull off the assigned special move.
Now this is gonna gain some respect.
I can understand fighting games can get a bit repetitive, so to counter that issue, there are 4 kinds of fights you can enter. You have your standard 1v1, then you have 2 vs 2 where you and an AI buddy can take on 2 opponents. You have free-for-all where you and 3 AI characters can slug it out and see who's the last one standing. And finally the Gauntlet, which is a series of fights back to back. Winning fights grants you money and skill points, which I will go through now. When you are not fighting fools and putting them to sleep, you can visit the market to customize your character. You can buy new clothes that you can wear in different styles, buy some ice in the form of rings, pendants, watches and earrings. You can get new hairstyle or get a new tattoo. More expensive items and variations are unlocked as the story progresses. Of course, the more charismatic your character looks, the more the crowd is going to be behind him, which really helps when you are fighting an opponent in an arena where the crowd can get involved. But more than that, you can visit the gym in this section, which allows you to upgrade your character. Depending on the skill points you unlock by winning fights. You can upgrade your upper body, lower body, your strength, speed, and toughness. Here you can also learn new styles. There are 5 fighting styles to choose from: street fighting, kickboxing, martial arts, wrestling, and submission. When you start a new campaign, you can select which fighting style you want to go with. But if you have enough skill points, you can assign 2 or more fighting styles to add variety to your moveset, which will make your character more powerful. You can also learn new finishers here, some more devastating than the others. Aside from the story mode, you can access battle mode from the main menu, which basically allows you to play as all the fighters/rappers you have unlocked in the story mode. Playing and winning battle mode grants you points that you can use to unlock more fighters from the unlock reward section. Oh, and you can also import your story mode character in the battle mode. You also get a section for extras in menu, which has the trailer of the game, the intro, and an option to enter cheats. Yes, remember those good old days when you could enter cheats? I know I do. Graphically, the game is impressive. All the rappers/fighters in the game look unique and stand out. Even the custom characters I created looked impressive. Not as other characters on the roster, and it is understandable, but nevertheless looked impressive. There is nothing I have to complain about when it comes to the game's graphics. I could tell the amount of detail that has been put in the game is truly breathtaking. From chains dangling around my character's neck, to the eyes sparkling on my character, to the environments that shatter when a human body is thrown against it. A lot of detail has been put in the game. but my most favorite has to be character damage. If your character takes too much damage, it will show on his face. It just made him a bit more human. Now I'm gonna have to talk about the game's issues, and yes, it has one. A big one. And that has to be its camera. While the camera tries its best to keep the action front and center, there were a couple of times when the camera ended up obscuring my view, which shouldn't be a concern, but environments made it that way. Here, let me explain. You got the x-axis and you got the y-axis. As long as your character stays in the middle of the screen or high up on the y-axis, the action is clear and you can see what's going on. But the moment your character goes down on the y-axis near the bottom of the screen, I found my view a bit blocked by either the audience or some other obstruction, and because of that I had trouble landing and blocking attacks. If there was no camera issue, then this game would be a masterpiece, a solid 10 out of 10, but that doesn't mean the game is not good at all. Yeah, the camera can be a bit of a pain, but what it does offer, and trust me, it offers a lot, I can't deny it. Def Jam Fight for New York is one of those games that we may never see again, mainly because of licensing issues and also because of the sales. For those who do not know, Fight for New York sold over 2.5 million copies, with the most on PlayStation 2 with 1.76 million. Heck, even the Xbox version sold around 500,000 copies. So when Def Jam Icon was announced for PS3 and Xbox 360, there was a lot of hype around it, but unfortunately it did not translate over to sales. On the 360, the game sold around 0.35 million copies, and on the PS3 it sold around 0.43 million, bringing the total around less than a million. Yikes. I mean, the gameplay of Icon is worth discussing and I think it deserves its own video, but if you take a quick look at Icon's fighting and compare it to Fight for New York, you can tell that they messed up. So yeah, after that EA kinda gave up and so did Def Jam. People might say that it's just Electronic Arts being Electronic Arts.
EA Sports. Go f*** yourself.
Now when you think about it, the licensing of music, the artist, the recording company, the brands that these artists wear in-game, it probably costs a lot of money, and if you're not even going to break 1 million, then yeah, you would probably reconsider going down that avenue again. But at least EA did give us a brutal, gritty fighting game that was a step up from its predecessor. Fight for New York is a gem of a fighting game. It's not perfect, but considering that this game came out on consoles with less video memory than your average smartphones, EA managed to create a gaming experience that still hasn't been replicated. Well, that's enough from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving the video a massive thumbs up. If there's a PlayStation 2 game you want me to cover, let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to see more or want to support my channel, consider subscribing. I'm a part-time YouTuber, so your engagement with the channel will help me a lot in the long run. Peace out, angels, and stay awesome.